Greetings! Matthijs here and welcome to Let's Play Europa Universalis Rome, Part 7. It's been a while since last time I tried to actually record last week, and I suffered a crash to desktop, and 20 minutes in I have now activated the autosave, so if the same thing happens again I will hopefully be able to continue from more or less where I left off, so I don't have to replay too much. So, if you for a situation we have forced Osman King to pay tribute, we're at Roxolani, Armenians have an army over there, they are not at war with anyone at the moment, so but they don't want to get their army home. Well, it's their problem. The ideal course of events here would be if the Egyptians and Seleucids collapsed into a bunch of states, but that's not going to happen. Yeah, it's one interesting thing there that I think when it comes to the balance here between for the Seleucids, one thing that I noticed there have been people that said that want to expand the map further east. That is in many ways a good thing, but it's not something that would directly solve the problem. Sure, if you expand these, you could have the Parthians. Well, people are going to die. They are not in Parthia at the moment yet. So, well, that's a different thing from the last time I played. I don't think that happened. Anyway, while that means you could have them on the map at start, so that we have them playing as them. But in the end, if you are assuming the general balance is the same as it used to be, then the main difference is really only going to be that the Seleucids will have more provinces, be more powerful, and there will be a small neighbor that it's not, maybe not necessarily terribly weak, but one that they can gobble up fairly easily anyway. After all, that's what generally happens to Armenia, and Armenia actually starts off to have decent resources, but after all, they managed to accomplish something in this game, and then they have problems here with the Egyptians. Now they have some barbarian problems. Could have been solved if they hadn't been stupid enough to march their army over there. But that's the AI for you. And even further eastward expansion, then you would have to include the Maurya Empire, since they had the provinces directly to the east. But if you include that, then their heartland is in northern India, so you may actually need to truly be fair to them, you would actually need to include all of India, and so and really having a Maurya Empire that potentially expands all this way is even worse than the situation where you have a maybe a ridiculously stable Seleucid Empire. And in fact, in the Magna Terra, that's mod that expands the map for and very large part of the world. I wrote an after action report there. I was playing at the Zhao in China. After I checked, the Maurya Empire, it was extremely powerful, and they were beating up the Seleucids. Although, things to note, one thing, they had not expanded into the areas that Seleucids controlled within the original map. And that Seleucid Empire, going by the stats there, manpower and income and all that, that was still the most powerful Seleucid Empire I have ever seen in this game. And they were getting beaten up all the time. And all the other here, well, the only other nation at that time that was any more powerful than they have just in general are, that would be Egypt, because the map expanded further south here. Yeah. But that was also a few versions ago now. More later versions Magnetar expand the map even further, and generally the setup in India is such that the Maurya Empire have a hard time just... Oh, a nice event. Hard time expanding. Having those events are nice because they will give you a pretty nice boost on when it comes to your technology levels, so that's one reason to have competent people, since that increases the chances for those events. Yes, nice question. Yeah. I generally want to destroy barbarians myself in order to... and they're marching into my territory. After all, the slaves from defeating them are nice, and if they've managed to actually get some money from when most of the provinces are marching through them, you're better to have. Let's see how long Kuji was. Well, if they are going to attack, let's just wait for them. Now, I am a bit biased, but I think when it comes to the general balance here for the Seleucid Empire, I personally think my mod handles well, largely by making all these minor nations around them slightly more powerful, so they don't have as easy time to deal with them. And also, more of the strength here is the potential here. This process, colonized here, are going to provide them with manpower, and well, that's one thing they are not getting in there. And really, although I don't think that my mod makes it harder to play them, the Egyptians are not as strong either, so successfully dealing with them in the initial war is actually easier. But really, I'm also a bit biased. The mod I made, obviously I'm going to prefer the way things I did it. So, for access and channels, so the base tax is 0.9, same base tax. Let's get the irrigation in Sinchi. I think that what will increase our income is Kuji. He is bad, really bad. check here. Government, likely successor is more impressive. At least he's a good military commander. He only has 5 finesse though, which means that we are still not enough for one of those. Yeah. Now, why they wouldn't accept it? Well, I can tell sometimes. Yeah. One thing here with this game that I've one problem here with Solid's room as to any potential. There are no, at least not that anyone's aware of, plans of making a sequel to this game. One problem I can see is actually the name, Europa Universalis Room. It pretty much makes it look like it is then a Europa Universalis spin-off and not much its own game. Compare that to, let's say, Sengoku. One could say that that's anyway Crusader Kings Japan or something. It was released before Crusader Kings 2, so that's what they think really. But that one has a better name as far as any potential sequels go. But if Paradox decides to make any sequel to this game, I would like it if they kept the general idea that you're playing as states, but there are still some focus on the internal politics and having a better map, more provinces and all that. That's one thing. The interesting thing is when it comes to the amount of provinces you want. After all, first thing we need to think it's a game. We need to be able to click on the provinces, but it's a game. The game balance and exactly how things are balanced. So actually, before the Vivictus expansion, a large number of provinces was actually not such a good idea, since every single province needed to have a governor, but now, well, it's just for every single region. So for Armenia, they do have one governor here for Ruti, but that's because that governor only have that province because it's the only province in that region they have. But really, this blue thing, it's one region. So in that way, adding a whole bunch of provinces, that's not really a problem in that way. And it does when it comes to interacting with the trading. Now the trading system is not the great thing, but I think it's better than the technology system really. But yeah. But really, if they make a sequel, they should obviously focus on what works and what's actually good, and let them not get too hung up on things that maybe didn't work too well. Yeah, large degree of the actual blobbiness in the game can be reduced by when it comes for the actual balance. Maybe some countries are going to be maybe a bit more powerful than they maybe should be, possibly. Yeah, it's hard to judge, but what matters is really the results. So that's one reason why I like the balance I have achieved in my own mod. There certainly is some blobbing, but really it's supposed to be some blobbing. It's just improvement of Solid's room did blob, say at least. It's just that some of the blobbing you do see tend to be looks silly. After all, they just declare war on Dacians. They're probably going to annex them, and as you can see, that's going to result in some really silly borders. Now, what kind of words are silly, that is sort of a matter of taste, but yeah. And really, part of the how things go depends on where is how the AI acts after all. The Seleucids and Egyptians are not really fighting each other as much as they maybe should, but in many ways it may be a sensible idea for the AI to, rather than just throwing everything they have at their biggest rival, may try to get stronger by taking out some more minor powers, get stronger that way. Now it would make sense for the rival to try to stop them, but why not try to gobble up some minors yourself? Yeah. One thing I had when after all I have made mod was when it comes to historical accuracy and gameplay. My personal opinion, historical accuracy, it enhances gameplay. Gameplay is the most important, but historical accuracy is going to make it better generally. One should note that it's a game. It's a certain, some things are abstracted and so, and some things here going by the historical accuracy can be a bit aren't exactly what you call 100% clear and to begin with, and even when this things, Egypt declared war on the Seleucid Empire. Let's hope they both collapses. But yeah, when it comes to, there are things that is hard to exactly how to represent it. After all, the actual way things were in history is a bit more complicated than we actually than what can be represented in the game. So there are things that. After all, look at Rome. Rome, well, large part of their territory was, well, their allies, but trying to represent it as client state allies to Rome would not really work, and really it seems very much that representing most of those territories that's directly part of Rome actually is what works best here in the game. And there are many more examples of that kind of thing. So all in all, things are not always as like simple there. And then there are things that this loyal commander, which one is it? Darius Arid. Yeah, he can receive a triumph. Even though Fravarti did more work, luckily that kind of thing doesn't destroy his loyalty, although it seems like he may have maybe a few too many loyal units and his ambition is to become a ruler. That could be a problem. Let's give him a fancy title. And yes, he wasn't technically. We can let Upadharma lead the army. He's a good general as well, so. Well, but in Yensi, where are they? Some barbarians that managed to take control here in Turutane. Yeah, I don't give much for their chances of survival. this season expansion, it brings me back to a bit to the days of early patches of this game when they generally colonized Terrorplus. Then you could colonize while still paying tribute, so they would do that. And now there are things. Now what generally happens now is that they get conquered by Imperials, but things were a bit different. Imperials didn't get all its troops. You couldn't directly annex someone up unless they only had one province. Yeah, there are a few things that have changed in there, and Egyptians are doing well. That's not ideal. And way too much manpower. Yeah, this part of the letter may have been more ramblings. He wants to get back there. Nah. Must be general again. Oh, chief ruler is died, so let's replace him, and then maybe I'll end the episode there, even though it's only been a short one. But since, yeah, so good. So, I hope you enjoy this, even though I mostly ramble and not much happening in the game. But, well, goodbye, see you again later.